Hello, everybody. So today we are going to start out the first steps of our cardiovascular system, and we're going to talk about your blood. Right? So essentially, we can divide it. Your cardiovascular system is massive, and we can divide it up into a number of different pieces. The biggest pieces of your cardiovascular system that we can easily divide out would be your blood, your heart and how your heart functions, and then your actual blood vessels, the tubes through which your blood flows. That's generally how we divide up our unit goals and our topics in this class. For your unit exam 1, you guys are responsible for not only knowing the endocrine system that we've been through, which was your hormones, but also everything about your blood and part of your heart. Some instructors will want you to know everything about your heart for your unit exam 1. I only ask that you know the path of blood flow and the anatomy of the heart for unit test 1. But for right now, we are focusing entirely, and in the next few videos, we are focusing entirely on your blood. Right? So a single drop of your blood, the red stuff that comes out when you prick your finger or get hurt, it's going to contain millions and millions and millions of different types of cells that do different jobs and help your body in different ways. You have red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, all that kind of good stuff. In today's video, we're going to talk about your first 3 objectives for your blood unit, which essentially is your introduction to blood, the basic characteristics of it, and we're going to talk a little bit about blood plasma. Right? So objective number 1 for blood is describe the components and characteristics of whole blood. Blood as a whole, like the liquid you get when you draw a vial out of somebody's arm. Explain its classification as a connective tissue. Right? So we're going to describe blood a little bit and talk about it as a whole, just like the vial that you're going to get when you take a blood sample. It's mostly consists of 3 things. You have plasma, which is the liquidy portion of your blood. That's where water is and that sort of thing. You have a buffer coat or a buffy coat that's less than 1%. This is where your platelets and your white blood cells are, as well as some other pH balancing elements that we need. And then you have the red blood cells, right? Or the formed elements. So your red blood cells are a decent chunk of what is in your blood. Specifically, right, your blood is considered a connective tissue within your body because it connects everything and flows. The plasma, like I said, is the liquidy portion. The formed elements are most of the rest of your blood. You have formed elements and then plasma, if we're going to get specific about things. For your formed elements, erythrocytes, right? These erythrocytes here are your red blood cells, which we abbreviate as RBCs. Your leukocytes, which are your white blood cells, we abbreviate that as WBCs, white blood cells, and then platelets, or thrombocytes, which are the least numerous, if that makes sense. So the least numerous of them. Your platelets are part of homeostasis. They are the stopgap that your body has until blood has completely clotted and coagulated around an injury. And that takes place from broken blood vessels. That's when they are activated. We'll talk about each and every one of these individual formed elements of your blood as we go forward, but right now, this is your happy introduction video, and we're going to talk about plasma. Right? Another important thing to know about your blood consistency as we are talking about this is something called your hematocrit. Right? Your hematocrit essentially is the percent of your blood volume that is red blood cells. So the percent of your erythrocytes in your blood sample or your blood volume. Right? Speaking in terms of averages, most people average around 45% of your sample. However, that is different between men and women. And we'll see why when we talk more in depth about your red blood cells and how they are made. But Percentage-wise, men typically have a hematocrit of 47%, give or take 5 percentage points, and women normally have a hematocrit level of 42%, give or take 5 percentage points. So the average of your population is 45, but realistically, men are about 47 plus or minus 5. Women are 42 plus or minus 5. Know the difference between men and women and their hematocrit levels. Right? So other characteristics of blood and your blood composition, right? So some physical characteristics about volume. Your blood is a sticky, opaque fluid with a metallic taste. We'll get into why your blood tastes like metal in a minute. But it's sticky. We all know that it has blood sugars and other things in it, so it's going to be sticky. Opaque means it's not fully transparent. You can't see through blood. It's thick, right? Light does not pass through it. The color ranges of blood varies from a bright scarlet red to a dark, deeper red with high viscosity. And that's all based upon your red blood cells, and we're going to get into why your blood changes colors depending upon where it is in your body. Typically speaking, your blood averages a temperature of around 38 degrees Celsius. For those of you that don't know your Celsius scale, that's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So your blood is a little bit warmer than your average body temperature when you take your temperature underneath your tongue with your thermometer. So your blood averages around 100-degree temperature as it's coursing through your veins. Your blood's pH ranges from 7.35 to 7.45. You need to know that number. That will come in handy later. So you need to know the normal pH of blood. Please notice that it is not completely neutral like water, which is an even 7. Your blood errs slightly on the basic side. Slightly basic, and we will discuss more of that actually in your respiratory system. So that will make a little bit more sense then. But your blood is very slightly basic and has that very thin range of 7.35 to 7.45. As far as how much blood you got in your body, typically speaking, your blood just in your body averages somewhere between 7 and 8% of your total body weight. For men, you have somewhere between 5 to 6 liters of blood in your body. And for our ladies, you average between 4 to 5 liters of blood in your body. If you can't really imagine liters very well because you're not that good with the metric unit, think about a 2 liter of Coke. Men, you have somewhere between 2.5 to 3 2 liters of Coke of blood in you if I were to drain you out. Ladies, you have between 2 and 2.5 2 liters of Coke worth of blood within your body, if that helps you visualize how much of this liquid is actually coursing through you. Right? Your blood has a few jobs. There are 8 distinctive jobs that your blood does. But this is what you got to know. So, your blood will distribute substances. It's a mode of transportation. So the 3 main jobs your blood does as a mode of transportation or distribution is your blood is going to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the cells. So that's first and foremost process of blood. It's going to deliver nutrients that's absorbed from your digestive system and the oxygen that you bring in your lungs. Gather up that good stuff and then deliver it to each and every one of the other cells within your body, right? Your lungs are also going to then, from each and every cell within your body, take those metabolic wastes and carry that metabolic waste from each individual cell in your body, depending on the type of waste it is, either back to the lungs so you can breathe out the carbon dioxide waste, or it will bring that waste to your kidneys for removal, because your kidneys filter out things like proteins and other waste byproducts that your cells just metabolized. So blood not only carries good nutrients and oxygen to your cells, but it removes the waste and carries the waste away as well. Your blood also serves as a mode of transportation for things like hormones around your body. So your endocrine glands will release their hormones and chemicals out into your bloodstream, and your bloodstream just carries them everywhere else it needs to go within your body. Right? Your blood also regulates a decent amount of things. It maintains homeostasis, right? Your blood helps you maintain a body temperature, thermoregulation. If you guys have ever noticed in cooking or just doing anything, swimming outside in the summer, liquids do a very good job of holding on to heat and maintaining a certain temperature. This is why it takes longer to heat up water or heat up a pool. But once the pool is warm, it will stay warm for a few days, and you can go swimming even if it's a cloudy day outside, but it will still be warm from the day before. Liquids, in chemistry terms, have very good properties that enable them to hold on to heat well. They are a good heat sink for things. So your blood itself will help you regulate your body temperature by absorbing and distributing the heat that is around you. Right? Your blood is also going to help your body maintain a pH. Right? Part of your blood has buffers in it. If you've not taken chemistry, you've probably not heard of buffers very well, but a buffer is a liquid or substance that acts as sort of, a buffer, exactly what it's named. It acts as sort of a regulatory chemical that, as a different chemical reaction is going on, it just kind of neutralizes any bad effects like going too acidic or going too basic from that point. And your blood has some buffers in it, which is one reason why your blood is slightly alkaline or basic leaning. If you remember your pH scale, it's 1 to 14. Numbers less than 7 are acidic, more than 7 are basic. So your blood is slightly alkaline or basic leaning because of something called bicarbonate in it. Your blood does have bicarbonate ions in it. We will talk more about your bicarbonate ions within your blood when we get to the respiratory system. Your blood also helps simply maintain your water levels. Each and every one of our cells needs a certain amount of water to function, and the reserve of water within our bodies that we need happens to be within our blood plasma. So your blood helps adequately regulate your adequate fluid intake and your fluid levels. It's your reserve of water for your cells within you. Right? Your body also your blood will also act as a form of defense for you, right? Your blood protects itself from blood loss in the form of platelets swimming around in your blood that are the things that clot whenever you get a cut. So whenever there has been a breach of one of your blood vessels, platelets or thrombocytes within your blood will actually go to help fix the problem and clot it so you don't lose any more blood. So your blood helps protect yourself from blood loss, as weird as that sounds to say. Additionally, your white blood cells, which are the main part of your immune system that protect you from infection, diseases, all that kind of bad stuff, use your blood to travel around, and your white blood cells are indeed part of your blood, and they live in your blood system. So your white blood cells are going to prevent infection, carry antibodies that will protect you from getting sick a second time, complement proteins, which are lesser known antibodies, and your white blood cells all use the blood system and your cardiovascular system to travel around, and they are part of your blood. So blood helps to protect you. We're going to talk about blood plasma first. It's probably the easiest thing to discuss about blood before we start talking about your individual blood cells and the disorders that come from that. Right? So your blood plasma has a number of proteins in it that we are going to discuss, but know that your blood plasma is about 90% water. Most of it is indeed water, right? So, yeah, most of your plasma, 90% of it is water. The rest of it about 7% that's not water are these various proteins that we're going to discuss. The 3% extra would be buffer that help maintain your pH and such. So the 3 proteins we are going to discuss that are in your blood plasma is albumin, globulins, and fibrogen. I'll talk about albumin last, but fibrogen is purely a protein for clotting factor. It is the least common one. Fibrogen is about 4% of these proteins here, and what you need to know right now is that it helps with blood clotting. It is a clotting agent. Globulins consist of about 36%. Or 36% of the proteins in plasma. And globulins are the things that help you maintain protection against invaders. So you have alpha and beta globulins that transport good things like iron and fats and fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin K, E, A, those things around your body to the cells that need them and that need those good things. Gamma globulins tend to help you with immunity. Those would be things like antibodies that help stick onto and flag invading cells into your body to help prevent you from getting an infection. We will discuss immunoglobulins far more when we get into your immune system. Right? And then albumin, which is the most abundant and lipid transporting part of your plasma proteins. Albumin consists of about 60% of the proteins in your plasma. The word may sound familiar to you, or you may never have heard albumin before. Albumin is a liquidy but thick and protein-rich liquid. We are not the only animals that have albumin in parts of us. So not only is albumin a pervasive protein complex within our blood plasma, albumin is also the name of the white part of a chicken egg. Right? Everybody knows that the yellow part is called the yolk. The white part is called the albumin. This acts as a buffer. In addition to carrying around these extra hormones, steroids, fatty acids, uses it as transportation, that kind of thing, it also is a buffer to help give volume to blood, and helps things keep moving along, right? But that is essentially, like in our case for helping things moving along, it would be our osmotic pressure within our blood circulatory system. In a chicken egg, it's the buffer between the baby chick and the side of the egg, should the egg be fertilized, and there's a baby chicken in there. But that pretty much summarizes your blood objective number 3. Blood objective number 3 was describe the components and function of plasma. Now you know about albumin, globulins, and fibrogen. Blood objective 2, if I forgot to mention that, was describe the 8 functions of blood, which we covered before we did your plasma. That's what I got for you in this little mini video. Your next video is going to be all about your red blood cells, so everything you need to know about your erythrocytes comes up next. Have a wonderful day.